I lived alone in an apartment with my pet Doberman Toby. I had moved away from my parents' place ever since I got a full-time job as an IT tech. Thanksgiving was just around the corner, and I had planned to stay by my parents' place for a few days after months of being away. However, although I was looking forward to it, one thing made me anxious: my mother. Being the eldest son who was still single, the task of caring for the woman who raised me was entrusted to me since she was now suffering from dementia. One moment she'd be on cloud 9, and then all of a sudden she'd be acting out of pocket like the girl possessed from the Exorcist movie. And if that wasn't creepy enough, I even saw her in the living room once talking to herself, laughing and crying simultaneously as she stabbed one of our family portraits displayed on the table with a kitchen knife.
He's not part of the family! He's not part of the family! He's not part of the family!
I had no idea what she was talking about, but after seeing a lot of videos online, everything was leading back to dementia. I didn't know how to respond to the situation, afraid she'd be ridiculed if friends or relatives dropped by the house. However, I vividly remember one of the videos talking about the ability of animals being able to alleviate the suffering of people diagnosed with chronic ailments. So that's when I stopped by the house with Toby one day and was greeted by my mother at the front door, caressed Toby's head and brought him inside as I stood there delirious and nothing out of the stroll at the grocery store to pick up some sides for the Thanksgiving dinner with my parents. I remember seeing my mother placing a massive platter with a silver lid on the table. Crawling its way from the kitchen, the aroma was enticing and irresistible. My father and I couldn't wait to dig in. However, as soon as my mother lifted the silver lid, our jaws dropped, and my father stood in horror at the sight of something that was definitely not a turkey. She glanced at my father and me, saying,
"I thought of being more creative this year, so bon appetit!"
And just like that, Toby went from an adorable pet to a nauseating dinner that would leave me traumatized forever.
Students, but none were worse than Charles. Last semester, Eddie and I had advanced robotics together, so naturally we sat next to each other towards the middle of the room. Charles always sat as far back as the professor would let us, since it was such a small roster. As for the project, Charles said his parents were out of town for the weekend, so it would just be the three of us. It timed out. In the exact second, the phone in the kitchen stopped ringing.
I know you're lying! Where's Eddie? Oh, come on! Don't you want some delicious turkey? No! Shut up! Tell me where Eddie is! I really thought you were smart. I can't believe you haven't figured it out yet. Isn't it obvious? Eddie is right here!
Charles lifted the dome off the platter, and on it was a turkey with Eddie's head. It was severed and sewn on top of a turkey, and it was moving. Wings, legs, and all. Even Eddie's face was smiling with ghastly wide-open eyes.
Happy Thanksgiving! Ha 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 ha!
I ran away and abandoned my car. When I got to a safe distance, I called the cops, and they quickly came to arrest Charles. But to this day, I still don't get it. He wasn't trying to get away with it all.
Already in my 20s, just chilling every so often without a care in the world. While most of my friends and classmates would talk about their jobs as doctors, lawyers, managers, or teachers, I chose to simply lay back as I constantly waited for my parents to pay my bills. Thanks to the old geezers, I didn't have a problem being unemployed. As far as I was concerned, I had everything I could ever want and need. So as a fat, lazy lard, I'd lock myself in my bedroom, playing my favorite online games, 3 steps climbing up the stairs. And when my dad swung the door wide open, he said, "That's it, Louie! We're no longer paying your bills!"
We're not your slaves, Louie. We're your parents.
It didn't really matter that my parents reprimanded me. However, when my dad said it was time for them to stop paying my bills, the first thing that came to my mind was the end of online gaming. I was devastated. It was something I could never let go of. And besides that,
Where would I get all that sumptuous food? Outrage, I replied. You can't do this to me, you traitors!
Oh, yes, we can.
My mom yelled. And that's not all. We're kicking you out if you don't get a job in the next month. You got that, Louis? Did I hear that right? Surely these two were only having a rough day, and neither could have meant. That's when I grabbed a knife that would put an end to his madness. Then, hiding it behind my back, I went into the dining area and immediately began swinging the blade back and forth, like I was a character living in a GTA universe. Suddenly, it was silent. There was no one to tell me what to do, and finally, I was free. And so, wearing my blood-stained clothes, I brought out my console, sat on the couch in the living room, and began playing games. A few minutes later, I put down my controller and started eating my mom's delicious meatloaf. Then, when I finished, I called the cops, waiting to disclose everything that transpired.
911, please state your emergency.
Hi, my name is Louis. I wanted to say Happy Thanksgiving. My mom just made me the best meatloaf and turkey a son could ever ask for.
Sir, may I please ask if this is an emergency or not?
I just wanted meatloaf.
Sir,
My parents wouldn't give it to me, so I had to finish them.
Sir, there should be a dispatcher close to your proximity within the next few minutes.
I made the odd decision to turn myself in, as sirens could be heard in the background.
Sir? Hello? Sir? Sir?
16 people died in 3 true Thanksgiving horror stories animated. The victims are for Neanderthal women, 6 Neanderthal men, for unknown victims, and 2 human men as including the pet from the video and Toby the dog as well. The kills are also as well done here. I'll get the golden chainsaw for the coolest kill will go to Toby the human being, sure. I called Toby looked like a human being. Cause I don't know, I'll put another animals on the kill count in other movies as well. Dull machete for the lamest kills will go to Louis' parents' first deaths. It was completely messed up.